The story kicks off with a young woman named Shaw, all excited to introduce her boyfriend to her family. She believes it's going to be a joyous occasion. However, her excitement quickly turns to disappointment when she catches him in a compromising situation with her own friend, Shuang. Furious, she begins shouting at him in front of everyone. Desperate to escape the situation, the boyfriend, Jiang, attempts to hide behind a passerby named Sean. What happens next is quite shocking. When he inadvertently grabs the man's hand, the latter transforms into Jiang. It's almost as if he has superpowers. Fortunately, before anyone noticed this, Sean's assistant managed to escort him away. Now, Sia, who is still determined to find her boyfriend, wanders around the place and spots him and follows him into a room. There she begins shouting at him once again, firmly believing that he is the one who wronged her. Despite the guy's attempt to clarify that he's not her boyfriend, she doesn't listen. As their argument reaches its peak, an unexpected and accidental kiss between the two takes place, catching them by surprise. Just when things couldn't get any more complicated, the guy transforms into Sean. At the same time, Shaw's mother arrives at the scene, along with Jiang. The latter takes advantage of the situation and pretends that Shaw is the one who cheated on him, while he is innocent. Our girl doesn't even try to explain, as she is stunned by what just happened. After everyone leaves, Sean opens up to Shaw about his bizarre story. He tells her that 5 years ago someone spiked his drink, which gave him a unique ability. If he touches someone for more than 5 seconds, his body transforms into that person. It then takes an entire 3 days to revert back to normalcy. However, today, when she unexpectedly kissed him, his body reverted to its original form immediately. Because of this, Sean asks her to marry him, but she finds his story preposterous and turns him down. In an attempt to prove his condition, he asks his secretary Lee to hold his hand, and sure enough, he transforms again. He then kisses Shaw once more, and just as before, he reverts back to normal. However, she still has many reservations about him and leaves. Later, Sean's secretary offers him some advice, reminding him that people usually date before getting married. Our hero takes the advice and comes up with a plan. In the next scene, Shaw is offered a job at a company. When she arrives for the briefing, she is shocked to learn that Sean is the CEO. Moreover, he's the one who offered her the job. He asks her to consider dating him, but this only makes her feel manipulated, so she declines the job offer. In the elevator, Shaw encounters her favorite actor, Chen, and she can't resist confessing her admiration for him. At the same time, Sean also arrives there, and our girl discovers that the two are stepbrothers. However, they appear to be at complete odds and are often bickering over the smallest things. When Shaw feels awkward, she tries to leave, but Sean grabs her hands and asks her how much money she needs to date him. Obviously, the question offends her, and she angrily shouts that money can't buy love. She also makes it clear that she's not interested in him. Taking advantage of the situation, Chen invites her for dinner, to which she happily agrees. The scene then cuts to the dinner, where he asks her to take part in his plan. He wants her to date his brother and learn his secrets, so that Chen can get ownership of the company. Shaw again blindly agrees, as she is enamored by the actor, despite his evil intentions. After a while, Sean arrives there, and by the look on his face, he is clearly upset to see them together. He takes her aside and asks what it would take for her to date him. However, this time, our girl agrees to date him, but on the condition that he hires her as his secretary. Desperate to have her by his side, he promptly agrees. The next day, Shaw goes to his house as part of her new job and discreetly installs a camera there. She even pays a guard to touch him for 5 seconds as an experiment. Afterward, as she is watching the footage, she sees him undressing. Unfortunately, Sean catches her red-handed and questions why she put a camera in his house. Having no answer, she replies that she just wanted to see his abs. In response, he takes her to his room and starts to undress, saying he will undress for her now. Hearing this, our girl panics and confesses everything. She explains that she was sent as a spy to expose his secrets. Sean tries to ask her more, but she only tells him that she's sorry and leaves. In the next scene, Shaw's mother invites the two to dinner, believing they're a couple. Sean accepts the invitation and behaves like a gentleman throughout the evening. However, Mom keeps assigning him various chores like carrying crates and washing dishes, making it a challenging dinner. Afterward, Shaw calls Chen to meet at a park to reveal the secrets she discovered about Sean. She explains that when he touches someone for 5 seconds, he becomes that person, and her kiss is what returns him back to normalcy. Chen asks how it makes her feel when he kisses her, but she hesitates, unable to come up with an answer. Just then, she hears Chen's voice from behind and realizes that the person she's talking to is in fact Sean. Meanwhile, the cocky and entitled actor is shocked upon seeing his own look-alike, which causes him to bump into a structure and fall unconscious. Shaw then informs Shaw that she has to keep his condition a secret. He pulls her closer and kisses her, after which he transforms into his real self. Unfortunately, someone captured this moment in a photo. Later, Chen's secretary brings him the news that a picture of him and Shaw has gone viral. He obviously doesn't recollect anything, so he is shocked. Sean starts to get worried for our girl when she starts receiving a ton of hate mail from Chen's fans. So he immediately calls a press conference to address the situation. Once they arrive, he says the news about Chen and Shaw is false and declares that she is actually his fiancée. He then places a ring on her finger, leaving her speechless. The event quickly goes viral, and Shaw's mom is over the moon. She is happy that her daughter has finally found a good and rich man. The next day at the office, all the employees who were once mean to Shaw are now trying to suck up to her. Our girl tries to clarify that she's not the owner, but to no avail. Later, she angrily confronts Sean, questioning why he lied, and the latter explains that he did it to protect her from the reporters. In the following scene, Chen approaches his brother and pretends to be friendly. He lists out some relationship advice on how Sean can make Shaw confess her feelings. Unbeknownst to them, our girl overhears their conversation and becomes aware of their plan. She then enters the room, and the brothers immediately begin to enact their plan. Chen has arranged for a girl to pretend to be Sean's lover and create a scene. However, when the girl enters, Shaw unexpectedly tells her that she can have him without any objections. After this, the assistant Lee arrives and plays his part in these shenanigans. He mentions that Sean's father has arranged for him to be married to another girl. However, Shaw doesn't care about it and simply leaves the room. After her departure, Sean is naturally upset, but his cunning brother assures him that he has more tricks up his sleeve. Later, as Shaw is on her way home, she encounters a masked man who demands that she become his girlfriend. When she refuses, he becomes angry and tries to attack her with a baton. Fortunately, Sean arrives just in time and disarms the man. After they leave, we learn the man is none other than Chen, who appears to have fallen in love with her. The following day, Mom asks Sean to escort Shaw to her ex-boyfriend's engagement party. Turns out, Jiang is soon getting married to the same girl from the start of the movie, Shuang. Our hero agrees and later informs Shaw about it. Unfortunately, Chen overhears the conversation and hatches an evil plan. Later, while she waits for Sean outside their office building, Chen arrives and offers to drive her to the ceremony. Shaw is surprised and asks about Sean's whereabouts, to which the actor replies that he is busy with his work. Here we learn that Chen and his evil mother, Jo, orchestrated the extra work for Sean to keep him occupied. Our girl innocently believes him and prepares to get into his car. But at the same time, Chen receives a call from a casting company offering him a movie role. As soon as he hears this, he gets so excited that he rushes away from there, leaving Shaw standing there. Later, she attends the engagement party alone, where Jiang and Shuang immediately begin to taunt her. They call her a gold digger for always being around rich men. Fortunately, before they can say anything more, Sean arrives at the venue. He defends Shaw and exposes her ex-boyfriend as the real cheater. At this point, Shaw also boldly stands up for herself. After their plan backfires, Shuang becomes upset and asks Shaw to leave the party. She blames her for the event's disruptions. But to her shock, the CEO's assistant, Lee, reveals that Sean is the hotel's major shareholder, and oops, looks like their time has expired. He asserts that they should be the ones leaving instead of Shaw. Humiliated and angry, the cheating couple is forced to leave their own engagement party and return home. Later, when Sean holds our girl's hand for 5 seconds, he transforms into her. This makes Shaw burst out into laughter. She then takes him home and gives her her mother's dress to change into. Sean tries to kiss her and revert back to normal, but she pushes him away, stating that she doesn't want to kiss a girl. Right then, someone knocks on the door, and when Shaw opens it, she is shocked to see Chen standing there with a handful of flowers. He apologizes for abandoning her earlier and barges into the house. During this time, Sean is hiding behind a pillar, and Shaw somehow manages to get Chen inside another room. She then comes out and asks him to leave, but he responds by kissing her, which transforms him back into his real self. Unfortunately, his brother notices them together and makes fun of him for wearing a dress. The following day, we see Shaw and Chen walking together while having drinks. He tries his best to seduce her by making up some romantic stories. At an opportune moment, he even tries to kiss her, but then Sean arrives just in time and pulls him away. When our hero asks what's going on, Shaw lies and says that she's helping Chen practice for his upcoming role. Hearing this, an idea strikes the CEO's mind. He takes his brother to his office, saying that he has a new project for him. He then makes Chen act out several different scenarios and learns that he's not good at acting. This makes him wonder why the girls are so crazy for him. Next, Sean confronts his brother and urges him to keep his distance from Shaw. However, the latter refuses, saying he loves her. He then suggests they compete for her affection. Our hero balks and starts to walk away. Nevertheless, Chen stops him and suddenly says that their childhood friend Bao has returned. In the next scene, Shaw brings food to Sean's place and heads straight to his room. To her surprise, another woman opens the door who turns out to be Bao, who assumes that Shaw is the caretaker and asks for her help in unpacking her clothes. Just then, Shaw notices a picture of Bao and Sean in her suitcase, leaving her stunned. She assumes that they're dating, and this makes her very jealous. Just then, our hero arrives there and tries to explain, but she doesn't listen and storms off. It turns out that Sean's father has arranged for him to marry Bao, but he is 100% against it. The following day, Chen accompanies Shaw to a nearby supermarket. Coincidentally, the other couple also happens to be there buying groceries. Our girl is visibly upset by their closeness, so she moves closer to Chen. When Sean notices this, he becomes jealous. So he approaches the two and invites them to have dinner together at his house. Afterward, while the group is having dinner, Shaw continues her act by affectionately hand-feeding Chen. Bao also tries to do the same, but Sean stops her and asks her to back off. Right then, Lee shows up and hands an invitation card to our girl, and it's a wedding invitation for Sean and Bao's upcoming wedding. This leaves our hero utterly stunned, as he was completely unaware of it. Turns out his parents and the cunning woman arranged the wedding without his knowledge or consent. Meanwhile, Chen takes this awkward moment to announce his love for Shaw. The latter doesn't even know how to respond to this. After the guests leave, Sean tells Bao that he has always seen her as a sister and is not interested in marrying her. This obviously upsets the woman, as it's always been her dream to marry him. The scene then shifts to Chen, who is standing amidst a beautifully decorated surrounding, ready to propose to Shaw. When she arrives, he nervously presents her with a bouquet of flowers and asks her to marry him. In the meantime, Lee learns about the proposal through the news and shows it to his boss. When Sean sees it, he rushes to the location but finds it empty. However, after a bit of looking around, he eventually finds Shaw standing by a lake. He then approaches her and asks for another chance. In response, she asks him what exactly he wants from her. Sean takes this opportunity to express his genuine love for her. He states that she's the love of his life and he wants to be with her forever. Touched by his words, Shaw reciprocates his feelings and hugs him tightly. Our hero then asks about Chen's proposal, to which she reveals that she turned him down. After resolving their misunderstandings, the couple finally share a passionate kiss in their car. Unfortunately, Bao spots them, and this makes her so angry that she decides to hatch an evil plan to separate our couple. In the following scene, Bao invites Shaw to a party and orchestrates a situation where the waitress spills water on her dress. This, of course, forces our girl to enter a room to change her clothes. Shortly after, Chen enters the same room as per the plan. Bao takes advantage of the opportunity and proceeds to confront Shaw for cheating. But when she enters the room, she finds Sean instead of his brother. Perplexed by the situation, Bao consults with the earlier waitress and requests footage from the secret cameras they have installed. When she reviews it, she finally discovers Sean's secret. He had touched Chen before the incident and magically transformed himself. Armed with this newfound knowledge, the bitch contacts Chen's evil mother Jo and proposes a meeting with all the company's stakeholders. The following morning, Sean receives a call from his assistant Lee, urging him to come to the office immediately. When he arrives, he is shocked to find that Jo has gathered all the stakeholders ready to reveal a secret. She congratulates him on the company's increased profits and shakes his hand for an extended period. Sean tries to break free, but she holds on tightly. Just when it appears that our hero is going to be exposed, the power in the office is suddenly cut off. In the darkness, Shaw arrives and rescues him by passionately kissing him and transforming him back to normal. When the power is restored, the onlookers are taken aback by the couple's passionate kiss, and Jo is left astounded. Sean seizes the moment to announce that the secret is actually his and Shaw's relationship and that they're going to marry soon. In the next scene, our hero finally proposes to Shaw, and she emotionally accepts. Chen observes this from a distance, and for the first time in his life, he is genuinely happy for his brother. Later, as Sean is busy with his wedding preparations, Jo pays him a visit. She gives him a particular wine as a gift and apologizes for her past actions. Our thoughtful hero promptly forgives her, and they decide to share the wine. However, as soon as he takes a sip, he starts feeling uneasy, so he summons his assistant and asks to be taken away from the place. During their departure, Sean undergoes a series of transformations, appearing as different individuals. He changes into an old man, a woman, a teenager, and many more. An unknown person records the bizarre event and sends it to Jo. Eventually, Sean transforms into Shaw and is taken to a room to rest. After some time, Jo enters the room and threatens to expose the secret to the board. She confesses her intention to take over as CEO and conspire with rivals to harm the company's standing in the market. When the bitch raises her hand to strike him, surprisingly, Sean appears from behind and grabs her hand. It's revealed that the individual lying on the couch is Shaw herself, and Sean never transformed into anyone. Li Bao and Chen also arrive at the scene, catching Jo red-handed. Following this, we are taken to a flashback where Jo and an associate are discussing their plan to harm the CEO. Bao overhears the conversation and promptly shares it with Shaw, Chen, and Sean. The quartet then come up with a plan to expose the greedy woman. It's revealed that the unknown person who took the video was also in on the act, and the footage was fabricated. Back in the present, Jo refuses to surrender, saying that she has waited far too long to become the CEO. Chen tries to make her understand that she's wrong, but she shouts at him as well. When Shaw makes fun of her, Zhao impulsively grabs a knife and attempts to stab her. Sean quickly intervenes, but gets injured in the process. Following this incident, Jo turns herself in and receives the appropriate punishment for her actions. The story then moves forward by a year, marking Sean and Shaw's wedding anniversary. He surprises her with a gift and helps her put it on. In return, she reveals her own special gift by sharing the news of her pregnancy. An excited Sean embraces Shaw, ending the drama.